And I hope to see you all at NMSU. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Selene?
Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Castrita, and I've been with ISSS for about a year and a half, or maybe a little bit more than that. Welcome. I'm glad that you guys are here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bill Cook. I'm an international student advisor along with Selena and Padma and Matthew. I have been with ISSS since March 16th, 2022, and thank you for joining us.
Okay. Just a few ground rules for the meeting as we prepare to jump into the information. You are all muted. If for whatever reason you're not, please mute yourself so that we decrease the background noise. And so that participants are able to hear and understand the information that we're about to go over. Your mic, like I said, your microphones are muted. If you have questions, please utilize the chat to write your questions, and we will get to them at the end of the session. Right, Padma? Is that how we're doing this?
Yes.
So yeah, get your questions in the chat, and then at the end I'll start reading those questions off. And at that point, if you'd like, you can turn your camera on so we can see you and we can talk directly to you. Okay. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Padma Reddy. She is our Senior International Student Advisor here at New Mexico State University, and she's going to cover a lot of information for you all. So again, welcome, and please type your questions in the chat. Okay, Padma.
Thank you, Matthew. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And like Matthew said, please feel free to post any of your questions that you have on the chat, and we will definitely answer all your questions. Okay, let's go. So we have listed some of the documents that you need to take, but please remember, each consulate requires certain documents for processing of your visa. So please do not go only by this. We are only trying to guide you and go by what is listed on the consulate of your embassy and go from there. But what is most important is that you absolutely need to have some of these documents. One is your passport, which should be valid for at least 6 months or more from the time you plan to come to the US, because I'm assuming you're all coming for spring 2024. So it will be probably in January or so you will be arriving. So your passport from January onwards, it should be valid for 6 months or more. And you should always have your DS-160, which is your visa confirmation page. And you also need to bring proof of your service ID, proof of service payment receipt, which is also called I-901 service fee receipt. You have to have a copy of your admission letter to NMSU, and of course, your I-20. You also need to have your original documents and your finances, how you're going to pay for your school. And that could include original bank statements, because we used copies of it was soft copy that you sent to us. Please have a hard copy of your bank statement, assistantship letter offer, any affidavit of support, And if you have any scholarship of any sort, please make sure that you do have a hard copy of that. All of these documents are very important for you to prepare for your visa interview. In continuation of that, please make sure you also have your test scores, your academic transcripts, diplomas, or certificates from previous education institution. This is all very, very important. I will go into detail as to why these documents are also very, very important, because if you would say, for example, you finished your engineering and now in bachelor's and you are applying to NMSU to pursue your master's in engineering, you have to show your diploma in bachelor's and why you're interested. It'll show a smooth transition. Okay. Now, before you go for your visa interview, please plan in advance and be prepared for the visa interview. I will definitely recommend that you have a mock interview. If you're shy, close the door, go in front of the mirror and prepare for your visa interview. All the questions that the consulate officer may ask you. And please have a good night's sleep and be ready at the consulate at least 1 hour before. I know they will allow you to go inside only 15 minutes, but you do not want to be late. Make a very good first impression. It's all about impression. Remember, the consulate officer does neither have a good opinion about you nor a negative, because they do not know you. You are a complete stranger. You have to make a good first impression. That's the reason why. Make eye contact and smile. Keep your answers precise and concise. Speak in English and always be truthful. I cannot emphasize on the truthful part more and more. Most of the visas that are denied are because students are not being truthful. That is the second most reason why students are denied a visa. Understand completely your school and your program of study. What do you mean by this? Where is your school? What is your program of study? If you're not able to answer those basic questions, they will doubt you. Please do not give any doubts of the sort. Prove your intent to return home. Remember, F1 visa is a non-immigrant visa, which means that your intention is to come here to the US to pursue a full college degree, and then your intention is to return back home. That does not stop you from applying for optional practical training, OPT or STEM OPT, if you're eligible, or H-1B. It is just that you have to prove a strong intent to return home. And we will talk in detail as we go forward. Please make sure you dress appropriately. Now, during the visa interview, the primary aim is to assess if the applicant meets the qualification to pursue studies in the US. The key focus is also ensuring the candidate will adhere to the conditions outlined to the student visa. Now, when you are applying for the F1 visa, you cannot talk about your job after you complete your graduation. You have to primarily talk about, you should show your excitement to show about why you're so excited to pursue your master's or bachelor's or whatever is your program of study. Your emphasis should be on your program of study and a little less, much less on post your completion. Emphasize post your completion. Of course, you are going to be on OPT. Remember, the interviews range from 90 seconds to 3 minutes. So it is a very, very short window for you to effectively demonstrate your eligibility. This is a very short window. So please, that's the reason why we ask you to prepare yourself much in advance, so you can be successful. The interviewer will be curious why you picked up NMSU and why you chose this subject field. That is your primary, and you have to be able to answer in your own way, depending on what is your program of study. They will also ask you, where is NMSU located? You're welcome to take a picture of this, screenshot of this, or record this, however way you feel worth. NMSU is located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Please remember, our university is not in Mexico, it is in US. And our closest airport is actually El Paso, Texas. Okay, now, why do you want to study in the United States and especially at NMSU? NMSU offers, I'll draw the attention. First of all, remember, the questions that I'm going to pose you, they're not going to ask you all of these questions. They will only ask a couple of questions, handful of the questions, depending on the time they have. So draw the attention about the quality of education in your home country and in the US. Also mention that US has one of the largest number of top-ranked universities, and that's the reason why you're showing your interest. Elaborate on your area of interest, the scope of your study in your chosen domain, and impact your subject has on the global economy, and in particular, your home country. You are not only showing your enthusiasm to come here to study, you're also showing your enthusiasm to go back, equal enthusiasm in going back to your home country after you finish your education. So this is one of the key points. And also talk to them a little bit about US education system, starting from the infrastructure for research, flexibility, international student and cultural diversity. And there are about 40 NMSU researchers that are on the list of the top 2% of scientists worldwide, which is regularly updated by the Stanford University and Elsevier Publishing Company. NMSU is also on the verge of becoming an R1 university by 2025. So please do give these reasons why you want to study in the United States and especially in the NMSU. And if they ask you the question, why can't you study? This is a very logical question. Why can't you continue your studies in your home country? If your parents are there, if your family is there, and you have completed your bachelor's in your home country, why not? Draw the attention again towards the difference in quality of education in your home country and in the US. And also give the example. NMSU is a land-grant university and offers 180 plus degree programs. It has reasonable tuition rate. And NMSU received second highest score in nation as a leader in equal access to higher education. Elaborate on your area of interest, the scope of your study, and go from there. What are you planning to study in the United States? Each of you must be in a different major or program of study. Understand what is it that your program of study is going to offer you at NMSU. You can get that in detail, what classes you will be taking, how many credits you'll be taking, and all of this, and go from there. You can go into our catalogs.nmsu.edu, and you will get a detailed information about what type of classes, how many credits you need to complete to graduate from your program of study. That will help you. And please also research about the professors that are going to teach your classes and the professor's accolades that they may have, if any. Okay. And anytime as a question comes up about what are you planning to study and why NMSU or why not in your country, emphasize on how good the education system is in the US, start off with that, and go to NMSU and then follow up with your program planning or that you plan to study in the US and talk elaborately about that. Any question. Most of my students, they tell me, come back and tell me, oh, the interviewer never asked me about my intent to return home. They never looked at my documents. Remember, they only have 90 seconds to 3 minutes per person. So it's a very short time. So they will not be able to read that. So that's the reason why it is your enthusiasm and your interest that how much you can help them understand why you're interested. That will help you with your successful visa interview. Let's talk a little bit about your financial situation. Yeah, some of you may be having assistantship from your academic department. That's wonderful. Congratulations. These students who have assistantships, they know, the U.S. Consulate knows for sure that you have some funding for sure. And there are more reasons for you to get a visa approval. And you also have to explain what is your unique strengths that you talk to the department, and based on your unique strengths, you were able to secure a graduate assistantship from your academic department. And please do emphasize that you also will plan to return back to your home country. Two things, always emphasize on NMSU, your program of study, and your emphasis on your returning back after you complete your program of study. So you cover both of them. If you have any family or friends, there is additional burden on you. If you are self-sponsored or your family or friends, if you're self-sponsored, you have to show how you got that money from. If you probably must have been working, or maybe you had some property on your name or some assets on your name that you have been deriving income from. And that's how you're showing your ability to pay for your tuition or your living expenses in the US. So show that. And if your family or friends are sponsoring you, show their relationship with you and their financial situation. You can show them your bank statement, of course, but you have to also show the relationship. And if it is a friend, you have the additional responsibility of why your friend wants to sponsor you, from where they are coming from. Let's say your friend wants you to succeed in life because he was not able to succeed in his life, and he thinks that you have been very helpful in the past for whatever reasons. You can explain all of those things, that you have been a very honest friend, and you have been helping your friend, or whatever those things. And you can show your friendship, okay? Now, intent to return to your home country. You can show your intention to return to your home country by certain examples. Let's say you're coming here to pursue a master's degree, and you have been working back in your home country, and your employer wants to sponsor your education, or he says, why don't you go ahead and complete your master's degree, and after you come back, you will have your job secure, you'll have a better position. That's very fortunate for you. Congratulations. And if you have that job offer, it shows that your intention to return back to your home country. If you have personal or business assets, bring them to your interview. That will help, because it shows your intention, having family, and not only immediate, extended family. will also help. Sometimes being the eldest child is a social obligation to take care of the parents. So that could be one of the reasons, depending on what country you're coming from. Okay, all of this show your intent to return home. Now, at the interview, please avoid one-word answers. If you give one-word answers, they do not know how to read from you. What are the answers? They cannot keep asking as many questions. They will only ask you probably no more than 2 or 3 questions at the most. So it is your burden. It's completely your burden for you to apply for the visa and be successful. So please avoid one-word answers, and also at the same time, do not be too elaborative. Please be mindful of their time. Understand different requirements for different countries. Students coming from economically difficult countries will need to, especially need to emphasize that they have the ability, financial ability, to sponsor themselves or through their family or their friends, and their intention to return back. One of the thing is your interviews may be for the future date. It could be after our program of study starts. If your intention is to come for spring, our classes begin on January 17, 2024. And let's say you have an interview scheduled for February. Of course, you cannot come to NMSU, but please do keep that and request for an expedited request. Please do not cancel your old appointment and ask for them to expedite. Now, not all embassies are equipped with the same resources. So do not expect all the embassies to have, US consulates to have the same staff or time to help you with that. In some countries, there are not many applications. In some countries, there are lots and lots of applicants, and they're usually overwhelmed. That has been that's been our experience, of course, secondhand. But some embassies do work with the expedited interview. If you show that your classes begin on January 17th, and if you have an I-20 reflecting that, then that is enough proof. And you can say you have to submit your I-20 and your admission letter and write a letter that since your classes are beginning on January 17th, you're requesting for an expedited interview. And of course, emphasize on your program, why you want to pursue college in the US, and especially at NMSU, and your intention to return back. It is at the sole discretion of the US consulate to approve or deny your request. NMSU can only help you with this Zoom webinar and also with the issuance of your I-20. We cannot write a letter of support because it's of no use. From the US consulate perspective is, if a student is intending to come to NMSU, that's the reason why the student has applied for an admission, and our office has issued an I-20. That is our role. That is about it. And now it is over to you to prove and how to apply for the visa and how successfully you can get a visa. By getting a letter either from your advisor or from ISSS does not count one bit at all for an F1 visa. So that concludes our session. So feel free to post questions in the chat, and we will go from there.
Okay, thank you, Padma. That was a lot of information. I'm sure that you all are going to have plenty of questions so far. Yeah, we've got a few here. The first one, and this is a question that might pertain to some of you out there. Hello. In my case, my admission letter says unclassified. The admission letter that was sent to me by ISSS says unclassified, but the one that was sent to me by my advisor says pre-dental hygiene. Which one should I use for my visa appointment? Definitely use the one that lists your major. Okay, now, so that you're an undergraduate student, so that means that it's going to be, one admission letter is going to be sent by ISSS, and then another one is going to be sent by, in this case, it's Doniana Community College. It's one of our community college systems. So definitely use your admission letter that has your program listed on it. Don't take any document that says unclassified, non-degree, anything like that. International students must be admitted to a degree-bound program, right? And that can be an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, master's, PhD, okay? No certificate programs. We will not issue I-20s for certificate programs. Got to be a degree-bound program starting with the associate's degree. Okay. Next one. I secured a January 9 F1 date through an emergency request. As you're aware, I need to join NMSU on January 10th. Could you kindly guide on expediting the interview date? If I am late for the course, what repercussions might occur?
So, hello. And when we issued you the I-20, our email did consist how to apply for an expedited interview, or also called as emergency interviews. You can use the following steps. And again, I have showed this. And if you are a bachelor student, then unfortunately you cannot come after the classes begin. But if you are a master's student or a PhD student, you have to secure, if you are able to get an interview, let us say on January 17th, and you need some time to get the visa and of course make travel arrangements to come to the US. If that is the case, please contact your academic department. And if your academic department is willing to give you permission in writing, because you would have missed out some classes, some departments have enough faculty members or persons to help you with catching up on your missed classes or a test, etc. Not all departments have that. So we will recommend that you go with, contact your academic department, get an approval from your academic department in writing that you can arrive late. Please remember, you cannot arrive later than January 30th is what I believe. If you have that letter secured, please email it to ISSS office, because so we can annotate that in your I-20.
Okay, thank you, Padma. Next question. How should I explain my master's in bioinformatics with the electrical engineering background? I need help as my last visa officer was asking me questions again, how my old degree is related. As I know bioinformatics has computational track, how can I explain to the visa officer as layman?
Well, this is night and day. So it is obviously the counselor is asking you questions. But on a serious note, you have to show if you had any background that you may have pursued that will help you with the bioinformatics classes. So that you have to show them, and you have to get your detailed transcript, and show what classes that you took at your bachelor's degree or your previous degree that will help you with your bioinformatics classes. And why there was a sudden shift in your change from electrical engineering to bioinformatics. Because one is math field, and this is kind of like a biology and computer science. So the visa consulate officer sees this at completely two different programs of study. And when you were admitted, obviously, these questions would have also been asked by you, probably by your academic advisor. So, so please be prepared to answer and submit your transcript and show what programs you took and how it'll help you with this, and what was the reason for your interest. It's absolutely fine to change your field, but you have to show what propelled you to change that, and what they have to see is your passion into continuing to another major.
Okay, thank you, Padma. Next question. There is a trend where visas are more frequently granted to students with graduate assistantships than to self-sponsored students. What advice can you provide to overcome this challenge?
Well, it is a challenge for sure, because when a university guarantees funding, it is bound by it, and usually bound by it. And so there is a very low chance that an assistantship would not be given to the student after they arrive here, unless the student really messes it up. So yes, but students who have, please do not think that your financial situation is the only reason why your visa will be denied. Most of the visas are denied because of your intention to return back to your home country, and very few times because of financial situation. And also, please be truthful. Remember, your consulate officer, by the time you are there for the visa interview, already has all your background with them. So please be truthful. That's my first tip. Second tip is always show that you have sufficient family funds or self funds, and how you have acquired your funds. If you have acquired it yourself, show them the means, and show them why you have been preparing, how you have been preparing for your lifelong dream of coming to US to pursue your degree. I know it is a little difficult, but please do so. Persistence plays. And if you have an assistantship, please tell them that you are in contact with your academic department, and you're hopeful, very hopeful, based on your GPA, your academic excellence, that you may be able to, you're sure that you will be able to secure an academic assistantship for sure. So those could somehow show the visa consulate officer that you're willing, not only showing that you have funds, personal funds, and your goal of getting to US, and your goal of also securing an assistantship, and show your goal about how you have achieved your goal until now by showing your academic excellence. I hope I answered your questions.
Thank you, Padma. That was a good answer, and I think that your answer also works for this next question. But we'll go ahead and put it out there. And just a reminder, we're answering these live in front of everybody. So please, if you don't want to include details, I'm trying not to include personal details in them. I'm picking and choosing the words, but just remember, we're answering these live in front of everybody. So don't include any information that you wouldn't want to share with everybody on this meeting. Okay, next question. I have been rejected at the embassy twice under 214B, and that was in 2021. Now I have a full assistantship from my department worth $30,000. What are my chances of getting the visa this time?
Well, if I had a crystal ball, I would have been playing lottery and not be working. No. Well, I will say congratulations on securing such a huge amount of assistantship. That itself calls for showing your persistence and to secure the funding. That does not stop you from applying for a visa, because your situation has changed. When you have 214, is you have to show your intention to return back to your home country. Please do show that by, if you have a job offer or a personal or business assets or your family. And you can also show that being the eldest child, if you're coming from a social obligation to take care of, it could be any of those reasons. You can show your intention to return to your home country. The story has to be in your own words. Everything, it has to be your situation, your unique situation. And that's the reason why at the beginning of the webinar, I said, please go in front of a mirror and ask these questions like a U.S. consulate officer does to you, so you are able to answer that question, and time yourself and pick 2 or 3 questions and make sure you cover why. Whenever they ask you a question, you have an assistantship, good, you got it. They know that you have some kind of an ability, otherwise the academic department would not have given you the assistantship. But show them what academic ability that you had to secure your assistantship and your intention to return back to your home country. Talk about all the academic excellence that US has to offer and what is awaiting you. Say you're very close to your family. Those kind of things, emotional things, matter a lot. No matter where, as an international, I myself, I'm international. I miss my family all the time. That nobody can take away.
All right. Thank you, Padma. So it sounds to me like the best way to approach an interview, and this goes for just about any interview that you're
Yes.
going to participate in your life and in your career, is prepare.
Yeah.
Preparation, practice, get all your materials together in order, and just be ready. Be
Yeah.
ready. All right. Let's see. All right. This next question is, hello, should we make documents to justify our gap before going to the interview? Can you kind of clarify that? What do you mean by gaps? Are you talking about gaps in your education timeline? What kind of gaps are you talking about there? Go ahead and answer my question, and then we'll come back to yours. Okay. Okay, we have somebody asking us to replay the slides again. We don't have time to really do that, but we'll find a way to post this on our website and make it available to you. All right, another question. Is the major general studies include pre-dental hygiene program? Since my I-20 says general studies.
So pre-dental, I'm sure you must be admitted to our community college. That is in the first, I know you want to be in the pre-dental major, but you have to finish a certain number of classes and then write an exam, and then only you will be able to be eligible for this pre-dental thing. And anyways, the reason why we issue your I-20 as general studies is because our admissions issues you the admission letter. And based on your declared major, our Department of Education, for each education or major that you plan to pursue, it'll give a certain zip code, which is reflected right next to your major on your I-20. So it is, I believe, 5 or 6 digit code, and that code is derived by the Department of Education, and each program is given that unique zip code. And we have to use that based on the Department of Education's thing. We are not able to change your zip code because you want it to reflect something else, unfortunately. Please do remember, because there is a discrepancy in your major reflected in your admission letter, and the zip code is quite different, you will never, ever be denied a visa, because the consulate officer understands what is a zip code, and based on what we issue the I-20. Now, if you want to change your major, then that's a completely different story. Okay.
Okay, I'm still waiting on some clarifications on the documents to justify our gaps before going to interview. Yeah, so Sangma Panta, oh, there we go. Oh, whoa. Okay, should I need to provide an experience letter to justify my experience after my undergrad. Okay, so sang, sangma, sangam, sorry, sangam. So it is. It sounds to me like you got an undergraduate degree and then went to work and got work experience, and now you want to come back and continue your education with a master's or maybe even a PhD, not sure. But yeah, I think it would be a good idea to have documents that show your work experience. Yeah, just for that continuity in your timeline.
Yeah. Also, may I add, is that the US consulate officers may not have all the time to read all your documents. So even before they ask you that question, pose you that question, please go ahead and answer why there was a gap.
Okay. All right. I have one program of study written in the admissions letter and a different subject on the I-20. Which should I mention during the interview?
Whatever is reflected on your admission letter, that is your program of study.
Okay. Next question. I've got an international competitive scholarship, but that is not mentioned on I-20. And visa officer asked me why it isn't mentioned on the I-20. Is it possible to mention that?
First, let me explain you what is our international competitive scholarship. International, we can award very limited number of scholarships to international students who meet our GPA and test scores eligibility. What it does is, instead of students paying an out-of-state, if awarded, they will pay in-state tuition. There is no money given to that student. Hence, for that reason, in your I-20, in the financial section of your I-20, we do not mention that you have a competitive scholarship, because we are adjusting your tuition, which is out of state, which is 3 times higher than the in-state tuition. So for that reason, we are not including in the funding section. But in the remarks section, we should definitely mention that you are a recipient of the NMSU competitive scholarship, and you will be paying in-state tuition.
So there, as Padma mentioned, it's not a funding scholarship, it's not a funded scholarship. So funds cannot be shown on the I-20. It is quite simply a tuition discount. So we cannot list the difference. We cannot list the discount on the I-20 as funding.
However, what we do is we mention in the first sentence in the remarks that student received an in-state tuition discount. It's up to you to take the printout of the tuition and show the difference between out-of-state and in-state, because there's a big drop.
Yes, thank you, Bill.
Okay, I'm answering a question privately. because it's yeah. Okay, next question. To know more about Masters in Civil Engineering program, please provide me discussion with one of your faculty and having a job offer letter from Gulf country. Okay. Mohammed, I'm going to answer you privately. Okay. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank each of you for attending our information session this morning. You should have our email address if you want to send us any more questions after this. We would be happy to answer them via email. And yeah, just on behalf of the NMSU International Student and Scholars team, thank you and good luck in your endeavors to your education, and we look forward to seeing you either in the spring or in the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. And good luck on your visa interview.